Yeah.
This is for the great beyond, whoever's listening in there and
Yeah.
wherever.
The ones who are
Yeah.
awake.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you're recording now, but that would be like a good little clip.
On today's show, we have the hobo with a laptop. Mike is a free soul who loves freedom. It is this very trait that motivated him to seek more sources of income and live as a digital nomad back when it wasn't trending. He has inspired thousands of digital nomads with his story, content, and the community he has created. He has a very interesting view of how the world is accelerating towards certain trends. In part 1, we talk about the backstory of how Mike became a digital nomad, starting and growing your own blog, building communities, leveraging platforms effectively to accelerate your growth, search engine optimization and tips to rank higher, and location independent lifestyle essentials.
It off. So welcome, Mike. Thank you so much for being on the show.
It's a pleasure.
I'm really curious on your backstory, how you got started, and what gave inspiration to Hobo with a laptop.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of start, and I got my notes and stuff, but I guess I'll start, a little off the book. Hobo with a laptop was an idea that I got that was based on a Canadian grindhouse film, or Canadian inspired, maybe filmed in Canada, and it was called Hobo with a Shotgun. And when I heard that tagline, it just right away, came to me. It really spoke to me. And then when I was becoming a digital nomad, when I was going through that process of doing research on how to be a digital nomad and all that wonderful stuff, I just explained it to people. Like I thought digital nomad was kind of it wasn't really a mainstream term yet, so I just thought it was kind of a silly term anyway. And I thought, you know what, if I'm going to go silly, you got to go full silly,
Yeah.
or to quote what's his name, you never go full. But I did, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go all the way and just say, yeah, I'm going to be a hobo with a laptop. Like I was already living abroad within my own country, so domestically in Canada. I lived from west to east over the span of about a decade. I lived, in Banff, and I lived in Calgary, and I lived as far east as St. John, New Brunswick. Spent a lot of time in Prince Edward Island and PEI. And I just thought, like I've already kind of been a hobo,
Mm-hmm.
so hobo with a laptop just kind of fit. Although I didn't buy the domain until 2014. I was lucky nobody took it before then, but I had the idea, about 3-4 years before that. So
Right.
that started.
Nice.
Yeah.
So since the inception with the Hobo with the laptop, how has it grown? So you started off initially with a blog, but it's grown tremendously over the years, and now you have online courses to up to like a membership community. So what were the phases that you had in growing your brand up to where it is now?
Yeah, I guess most of the story is before we really got into it. So I bought the domain Hobo with a laptop probably in like 2013 or 2014. And then I wrote a couple articles about off-grid survival, living out of a van and tiny houses. And then I left it from 2014 to 2017, and I just didn't do anything with it. In that time, I did other things. I wrote a book. I did all this other stuff. Um, but I kind of let it sit. But one of the things that I did when I first launched it in 2014, I think it was 2014 or 2013 maybe, I wrote an article about tiny houses, and I had gotten to be pretty quickly known in certain Facebook groups, and people liked our content. And one tiny house person, as they're called, if you Google tiny house people, you'll see plenty of websites that focus on that keyword. But one of the people mentioned that they had a building plan that they made on like Google SketchUp. I think it was Google SketchUp. And it was how to build your own tiny house. So we put a link to their plan, and they were selling their plan for like 20 or $30, and they were giving 50% commissions or something like that. So I put that up in 2014. And then when I opened my affiliate dashboard in 2017, in like January or February, I saw that we already had a couple grand just sitting in our account, right? Or maybe it was $1,000. I don't want to go over too far. but yeah, and I was like looking at that, and at the time that was some pretty nice money. So
Yeah.
I looked at my lady and I said, you know what, I think I'm gonna reboot this website. I think there's something to it. And
Mm-hmm.
in the years in between, I had always made jokes. My big mentor, this guy that I knew, James, I knew him in Canada, and back when I was in Canada in my past life, I used to sell e-commerce. I worked for a few different web companies, and he got me my first major e-commerce deal. It was worth over $1 million, and it was beautiful. And this guy and I we hit it off. And he came to visit me in Thailand, and it was somewhere between the 2013 or 14 bubble and 2017. It was somewhere in that time where I already had Hobo, but I didn't know what to do with it. And he kept telling me, he's like, you gotta build Hobo, and like the
Yeah.
name it tells a story, it makes people laugh, like it puts a smile on people's face, it's right away visual, they really understand it. And at the time I was really caught up in starting an SEO firm or whatever under the name Copyrise. So instead of being a copywriter, it was SEO and copywriting, and it was Copyrise. And I was trying to
Okay.
push that, but he kept telling me to do Hobo, and I ignored him. We ended up doing a company called Copyrise. It started off as an SEO company, later became influencer marketing, which was pretty cool. And that was inspired by, so like when I became a digital nomad, I moved around, and I started off in Ao Nang in Thailand, close to the area where they filmed like a James Bond film, and they filmed part of the beach, with Leonardo DiCaprio. They filmed that there. So as a tourist, that was, oh, I got to go there,
Mhm.
did the whole thing, saw the limestone, outside the ocean, the big cliffs, and cried, like just was blown away by the beauty of the place. But later, I moved to Chiang Mai, and I ended up living in a building full of bloggers. And
Yeah.
today, these bloggers are absolutely big. Like they're influencers in the niche. They're huge. But they had inspired me to kind of revisit Hobo and do what I did. So when we started the influencer marketing thing, going back to Copyrise, I had access to these people. So it was very easy for me to do an influencer marketing campaign. I just call my friend and be like, hey, do you want to be on, do you want to have the sponsor? And then I make a small cut on the deal that they get. And the bloggers always made more than I did. And I was kind of jealous of that, because I was like, here I am, working and hustling to get these deals for these bloggers. And then a lot of them are just like, no, like they don't need to take it. They didn't need the money, and I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell, So we did influencer marketing for a little while in SEO, and then I just thought, you know what, screw that. And am I allowed to swear in this
Yeah.
recording?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Be you.
Yeah, I was like, fuck SEO, fuck influencer marketing. I'm gonna become the influencer that I know I can be, because I know I know the rule book.
Yeah.
So then we did Hobo. I launched Hobo in spring 2017, or I rebooted Hobo. So I got it back in 2013 or 14, rebooted it in 2017. And we went big. Within our first month, we had about 30 articles written.
Mm-hmm.
We had links from major bloggers, which, I don't want to name drop. Some of them are best-selling authors, New York Times, best
Wow.
whatever author lists. Yeah, I always resist saying who, because I don't want people to bother them. Like we have our testimonials on our front page, and 2 of those testimonials are from the people I'm talking about.
Right.
But at least for now, at the time of recording, July 22nd, 2020. But yeah, so we ended up getting a bunch of links to our site, because our site was, considered useful, and we knew a lot of influencers already, so it was easy to build SEO links. And as a result of that, Hobo just took off like a rocket.
Yeah.
We kept going, and then we just kind of like wrote it out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in there, I wrote a book called Digital Nomad Escape Plan. That's before we really took off with hobowithalaptop.com. I've already covered the whole influencer marketing thing. And then other things I did as a side income before blogging became my central income was I was a ghostwriter. I wrote a lot of articles for, ICOs that were launching. I wrote a lot
Oh,
of their
nice.
email autoresponders. Yeah, I was big into the crypto thing. We were actually going to make a course about crypto, and I'm kind of glad we didn't spend all that time on crypto because of the YouTube purge that happened with crypto. And it kind of ate it all up.
Yeah.
But I've been on tech. I still think is one of those courses and one of those influencers that managed to survive. And we're actually going to be, instead of making our own course, we're going to be promoting that one, I think, because
Yeah.
it stood the test of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wrote for a lot of crypto ICOs. I did a lot of technical writing, and then I got lucky with a few gigs, and I ghost wrote. So I didn't get to write it under my own name, but I ghost wrote articles for Forbes, Men's Health, and a few other of the big ones too. So I've never actually been published as myself at this time on a major publication ever. So we've been going completely on our own steam. So
Right. Okay. Nice. So
that's kind of the whole mess.
that's where so
Bag.
Hobo with the
Yeah.
laptop is at now. And also I saw on your Twitter, on your pinned tweet, there was a thing called roaming economy. It's like ditch Facebook, come to roaming economy. Do you mind explaining what that is? I think it's a great idea, to be honest. It's like as far as I know, it's like a combo of LinkedIn and Facebook, but without any spam. So do you mind elaborating on that?
I'd love to. Yeah, it's so I mean, we've all been observing, what's been going on with social media. We already know about Mark Zuckerberg and his 10 tubes of zinc. I don't know if you saw that picture of him surfing recently.
Yeah, I saw
He's
that.
trying to live longer than George Soros, I think. But
Oh,
so he's
hell
starting
no.
early. Yeah, I
George
hope not.
Soros, yeah, lived long
Knock
enough.
on wood. Yeah, exactly. But Mark Zuckerberg's definitely up there. So I don't know. There was a picture of him surfing recently. If you just Google Mark Zuckerberg surfing, you'll see his face. He looks like that old '90s, 2000s flick with Michelle Pfeiffer. He looks like the dead presidents.
He looks very stressed
He looks
out.
ridiculous. Yeah, he looks
Yeah,
really scary. Like he just doesn't
yeah.
help himself. Like he's looking more like Data every day. But yeah, I forget where it's going. So yeah, we know how creepy social media is.
Hmm.
And I think that people are becoming more cognizant of how algorithms are manipulating them. I personally, like, we deleted our Facebook, or I deleted our Facebook in 2017 or 2018. I guess it was probably 2018. And we had a Facebook page, 5,000 likes, and we saw that the algorithm, because Facebook made it mandatory, you have to have a page. So get the
Yep.
page. Okay, so we get the page, we get the like buttons all over our site so they can spy on all of our readers. And we do all that, but then it's like pay to play. Then all of a sudden our traffic on our Facebook page just like totally dissipates. And then with the algorithmic stuff where they're putting everybody in a bubble and they're creepy, and all this other Cambridge Analytica stuff. And I think now finally in 2020 people are becoming aware. I am the product is no longer just like some bullshit thing conspiracy theorists say. It's like,
Hmm.
I think, your Aunt Faye is going to understand that she is the product now. It's something that's become a mainstream understanding. So a lot of people are kind of moving off the cat memes and, all the memes and all the like silly time wasting stuff. And people are looking to make the time that they spend on social media actually work for them.
Yeah.
Like to actually build equity.
Hmm.
Like you can build equity with social media, but you don't build equity as a brand on someone else's platform.
Yeah.
You build equity as a brand on a platform that you own. James Schramko, I highly recommend anybody listening to this, check out James Schramko,
James
Super
Franco.
Fast Business. Yeah, Super Fast Business. He's also from Australia.
Okay.
And, he was a big proponent of the digital nomad lifestyle back when I was looking at starting back in 2012, 2013. And, he always said, own the race course. If you're going to put your race car on a course, own the course too.
Yeah.
And, I think that's really where brands are going. Like, I think that the future of social media is decentralized.
Hmm.
So I think
Yeah.
it's not going to be some monolithic platform. I know that Dave Rubin is trying to create locals.com. I know that there's like the Better Bachelor and these other YouTubers that use it. But again, I think that's still falling into a platform trap, where there's vendor lock-in. So I think the best thing to do is to create your own site, self-host it, run it yourself. So yeah, we're starting the roaming economy. The roaming economy is a community for not just digital nomads. Like the main thing is that making money online unites everybody that I invite to the community. It's an invite only community. So if you live in a van, your van life. If you live in a tiny house people. If
Okay.
you are a sailboat cruiser, like SV Delos or SV War Story, these are some people I follow on either YouTube or Instagram, and they're just young people that live on a sailboat, you know.
Yeah.
But the one thing that unites all of these different disparate lifestyles is that we all make money online through one way or the other. And I thought, you know what, fuck digital nomad, that's the second time, and just, like, forget it, like,
Yeah.
don't box yourself in that one thing, because it's such a small niche. It's so
Yeah.
tiny, and it's never going to be profitable. Trust me, I've been in the niche for 6 years. It's not a profitable niche to be in.
With
So
which
we started
niche? The digital
digital
nomad niche.
nomads in general.
Okay.
Like, digital nomads are an umbrella, so
Okay.
like if you're a database guy, a programmer, software guy, there's nested communities within the digital nomad community, van life,
Oh, okay.
tiny houses,
Yeah.
even yoga retreat people, like cruise life, like actual cruise, like there's so many different, um, you know, people that are into horses, I'm just pulling stuff out of my ass, but like people that are into many different things, like, the music industry is a big one.
Yeah.
And I keep getting told to promote that aspect to it, because there's a lot of people that are creating their own music online, in addition to podcasts or their YouTube vloggers or whatever. But the music, like, if you really think about what the music industry is, I mean, you go on tour, you perform,
Hmm.
and then you make money that way, and that's how you make money. Well, then they're already living a location independent lifestyle as well. So this brings together and puts a name on it all, for everybody that lives a location independent lifestyle. It is the roaming economy. You're going from, you're in a state of transience. We all are, I think, whether it be the economy, social unrest, environmental changes that are happening with the climate. There's a number of reasons why people are moving and migrating between areas. So I think that the roaming economy is just, it's the right time, when you pair it with the fact that people are getting tired and the delete Facebook hashtag exists. So I think
Yeah.
it's just the right time. So yeah, it's like LinkedIn before it became feelings. Like, LinkedIn really took a downturn at one point.
Yeah.
When I was on there before, it was, like, I used to get jobs through it. And then now it's like, people, this is my deep dark, secret, like, this is my victimization, and they're putting all their bullshit on display, and it's just like, it's not LinkedIn anymore. So I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to create a place where, that was front and center. Making money online was front and center, but then there was no more wokeness.
Hmm.
There was no
Yeah.
more, social justice warrior, kind of stuff like that. So that's the only thing we're going to censor. I mean, obviously, no one's allowed to be mean to each other. You got to
Yeah.
always be helpful, and no one's allowed to spam.
Yeah.
But other
Oh,
than
that's the
that,
main thing. Yeah.
yeah, like, you can spam the fuck out of your profile,
Yeah.
because if that's the image you want to give,
Yeah.
then that's your foolery, like, that's your mistake. Fine, go right ahead, be my guest, spam the shit out of your profile. But if you spam the forum, that's not welcome.
Yeah.
So, like, there are like other ways to self promote. Like, you can give a part of or a complete course, because the community has a learning area where, so it has like a built-in teachable clone, and people can learn things. And you could give a course or a seminar or a lunch and learn, like, all these things people are missing out on because they're not working in an office now because of COVID. I mean,
Hmm.
I used to love lunch and learn, like, every Friday we would order a pizza and somebody would volunteer to teach a skill that they knew. And I really, I missed that about working in an office. So I wanted to bring that to the internet and just kind of put it there. But yeah, when you lump it all together, that's the roaming economy. People can learn more over at theroamingeconomy.com. It launches in around mid-September.
Okay.
Um,
Awesome.
so it's not open yet, but yeah, it will be soon.
Yeah. So it's basically like you're creating people like whatever they want, their tribe, pretty much.
Yeah, there's going to be groups within groups. So, like, if you go to, like, I don't really know how the data architecture is going to work. Data architecture is an interesting thing. When you looked at the small tangent here. iPhone versus Android. In Android, you would go to the contact that you want to talk to, and then on their address book card, it would say, okay, how do you want to contact them? Through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through whatever. But you go to the contact first, and then you go
Yeah.
to the modality. An iPhone, you have to go to the app first, and then you
Yeah.
choose the contact. So it's like, so I'm not really sure how we're going to organize it, whether or not, you go to the van life tribe, and then inside van life, we have your money making things, or maybe we'll have our money making groups as the main, parent group. And then like the sub, nested groups will be like, because everybody has a different need. Like if you're going to be making money online in van life, chances are you're going to have, like not to put too fine a point on the cliche aspect. I'm not trying to make it a cliche, but you're probably a musician. You're probably someone like that. Whereas if you're a digital nomad family, you're probably going to be a blogger, or you're going to be selling, I'm being very cliche, but you might be selling lesson plans for a 5-year-old homeschooling. Like the way that you make money is going to be different based on your lifestyle. So we're trying to find a way to make those things come together. So
Right.
that's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept, and yeah, would love to see the progress of it as well. And yeah, on to the next
Well, you'll
topic.
be
So
there,
you,
right?
yeah, of course, yeah. I already
You're going
saw
to be a
that.
founding member.
Yeah, will be one of the
I
starters.
hope so. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Because
yeah,
it's not my thing. Like we're keeping it brand neutral.
yeah,
So other bloggers, like we've already joined up with a number of other influential bloggers, and the number one thing that I had to do was keep it brand neutral.
yeah,
So if you
yeah.
join us or whatever, a lot of people are calling it their own members area, and then they're doing it that way. But yeah.
Okay, so you can actually come in there and create your own group as well, is it?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
mean, like you can't just log in and create a group, but if you're one of our partners, founding members, then yeah, like if you've got your own website and you're specifically somebody that we've partnered with, affiliate,
yeah,
and that's also a consideration for our partners. Um, then yeah, we're going to let you carve out your own little place, and from our perspective, it's good for us because if you carve out your own spot within our community, then that means you're not going to make a competitor.
yeah,
But then from your perspective, you don't have to worry about any of the overhead, and you can make an income on any member you refer, and so on and so forth. So it works out for content creators as well, but we're only looking for 12 partners in the beginning. We don't want to oversaturate it and get shady affiliate marketers that are going to just try to push as many people there as they can and promise the moon when, passive incomes aren't passive. You
sell,
can't
yeah,
promise them things.
sell the dream.
Yeah, I hate that bullshit. Lifestyle
Yeah,
design porn. Yeah,
pretty much, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, you've been a digital nomad pretty much all your life. And what do you think, what can people start working on instantly to actually embrace that lifestyle? And I know that some people actually do not have a choice but to get to that stage. So what do you think they should be working on right away?
I think that the worst thing that you can do is try to so let's say, okay, today's Monday. I mean, it's
Hmm.
not, it's actually Wednesday, but let's say on Monday you wake up and you're like, I want to be a digital nomad. The worst possible thing you can do is try to learn a new skill on Tuesday. Like
Yeah.
you can't, yeah, you can't be like, okay, digital nomad, now I'm going to create a whole entire new learning curve that I never anticipated. Like you can't just,
Yeah.
because you're just creating. We have this subconscious need to create more obstacles for ourselves, and I think that, if you're going to become a digital nomad, or I hate the term digital nomad, if you're going to become location independent or a hobo with a laptop or whatever you're going to do, but if you're going to go with that lifestyle, you can't think that there's some big curve. There's not. Like the only curve really is getting a passport, getting the proper visa for the country that you're going to go to. That takes a few weeks, and then you could go. So the only thing that you really need to do is take your existing skill set, find a way to make that bridge into an online job, And then phase 2, and if you can start this before you become a nomad, that would be ideal for you, because it's a nightmare if you try to do it later, is to start a side hustle,
Yeah.
and get it up to be making at least $600 US a month. I mean, you can live in Thailand for $500 US easily, full
Yeah.
every month, living well. You still got money for beer and hookers. I'm just kidding, but like you still have money to like do the things that you want to do, like on the side, like take a week off,
Yeah.
and go and explore the country. Like you're gonna have to do a visa run every once in a while, so you're gonna need a couple of days off anyway for that. But you want to have an online income where you're making at least $600 a month, but you can easily ramp that up while you have an online job. So let's say you have a 6 months to a year runway,
Yeah.
and on Monday you decide you want to be a digital nomad. The first thing to do is find a way to make that job online. If you already work from home, as COVID-19, a lot of people are already there. Runway is a
Yeah.
lot shorter. So because, and we joked about it earlier in the call, but COVID, we're all digital nomads now. Like, yeah, I
Spot
said it like a
on.
game show host. Yeah,
Spot
game
on.
show. Yeah, but we are, and it's so you're already like 3/5 of the way there. So why not just like go all the way, make a little side hustle? You could do that in 3 months, maybe 6 tops. Start a blog, start doing things, start networking with others, join a community. And
That's
if you go to hobowithalaptop.com/community, that's not a plug for my community. That's an
yeah.
article about how to weed out the bullshit communities from the good ones. I wrote like just an article on how to like avoid shitty communities, because like we're all trying to avoid social media because it's a time vampire.
It is
Well,
100%.
yeah, and when you want to become a digital nomad, a lot of these communities, they become basically just a playground for the lowest common denominator. Like once a group grows to be too big, the majority, the voice of the majority is what rules the group.
Mm-hmm.
Like look in any country, like they're trying to fight whiteness in America. Well, that's the majority, man. Like, what are you going to do about it? Like, so like if you're in any community, the majority will rule. So if
Yeah.
you join one of these freebie Facebook groups where everything is in one feed and it's not segmented, and it's like what I was talking about with the RE, Roman
Yeah.
economy is RE. If you're just joining this big fire hose of, the majority of people that join that group and all these new members, they're not vetted. My connection's unstable, so I don't know if we're going to get cut out. But these people, it's a free community, so they can't vet the people that they admit. So you're getting 100 members a day. They're all beginners. And then eventually beginners take over the entire, virtual nation state of the digital nomad group. And then they just take over, and then the whole group becomes about beginners.
Yeah. That's
Well,
so
how are you
true.
going to learn anything from beginners when you're trying to break to the next level?
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
So
That
I say avoid those Facebook groups.
That's very true. That's I like from my personal experience as well. So especially with what's going on with the stock market, there's been a shit ton of Facebook groups, and when they start off, they're okay, and then there's a lot of people asking questions like, they repeat the same question, and I've noticed the more it grows, the quality drops significantly. I think it's
Yeah.
like the Dunning-Kruger effect. It just drops significantly, and at a point you're just like, I can't take this anymore, and you just leave it. And I just deleted Facebook once and for all. So
I'm
yeah, it saves a lot of time.
I'm gonna date myself on this. Did you ever watch Titanic?
Yeah.
Kate Winslet. Yeah. So remember the door at the end? It's like, why did Jack have to die? There's a lot of memes about it. Like he could have just. And there's all these little diagrams about how he could have fit on the door too.
Yeah.
But Kate Winslet lays on the door, and then Jack dies. Well, when you're in the middle of a pandemic
Mm-hmm.
and you have the entire planet trying to suddenly find their own golden parachute, that is remote work and
Yeah.
online income, they're all trying to get on that door. There's not enough room on the door. And what people do when they're panicking in real life, they hold each other down. But in a forum, they flood the group with dumbass questions because they don't use the fucking search function. You know, like,
Seriously,
and can you
yeah.
imagine being a moderator of that? Can you imagine
Yeah.
moderating that and
You could just
allowing your
yeah.
group to grow that big? It's insane. So yeah, like everyone's clamoring to fit on the door.
Yeah.
And these groups are just like, it's a snake eating its own tail. And I just think that, you know, because it's become such a saturated thing, I mean, you know, like I said in game show voice earlier, like we're all digital nomads now. Like there's no point in joining a free group now.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
may as
like,
well go, yeah, you may as well go all in.
yeah. And I mean, it doesn't even have to be like like a paid group. You can just join like a new group and then
Hmm.
establish yourself as an authority within that group. And then that can actually lead to opportunities for you as well. It's not about paid, it's just about new. But
Yeah.
then, you know, if you keep going new group to new group and then it changes, it's like rave culture back in like the late 80s and early 90s. I mean, my big brother was a raver, you know, and then when I got into it, he was like, it's just not the same, you know. And like when I got into it, the movie Human Traffic, it's a great movie, by the way, was out, and they talked about rave culture and the different stereotypes that you meet at a rave. That's pretty much the digital nomad groups now, these different stereotypes of people and cliches, walking cliches, and they're just taking up space, you know, holding each other down. And then you've got the other ones too. You've got like the witty troll, you know, and then you've got like some people are just there for the endorphins, man. So like
Yeah, the
it's just
dopamine
like,
hit.
yeah, and you're competing with them.
Yeah.
Like, and you're sitting there and you're like, I got 3 kids. I'm in the family den right now. I've got my, like, stop pulling your sister's hair. You know, like I've got my kids puking on my lap. I'm just trying to make money online. And then I got some guy like fucking making fun of me with an animated GIF. Like, go fuck yourself. You know, like, it's just like you don't need that shit, right? So
Yeah.
that's again why we did what we did. But I mean, everyone's gonna have their own approach to it. I just think that, you know, trying to fit
Yeah.
everybody on a single door that's floating in the Arctic isn't exactly a good idea.
Yeah, I think more than your time, it saves a lot of your energy as well, which you can definitely use in some other area of your life. So yeah.
Yeah. When we
And
stopped coaching, like we were doing coaching for the longest time, and it did get really time consuming. So the community is a way for us to do coaching and people get free coaching. And then we can actually hit more people and we can contribute to more people's success
yeah.
just by having a forum. So enough about that though. I'm really sorry. I'm not trying to turn it into a plug.
No,
Just
completely
comes out of
fine.
me.
No,
But yeah.
that's fine. So yeah, with so blogging and content creation, there's so many creators out there right now, and everyone's pumping out content these days. So how exactly do you gain an edge and be visible with all the other content out there?
I guess, you know, like if like, okay, so I guess I'll kind of go back to how I started.
Yep.
You know, I kind of alluded to tiny houses and how I was kind of known in tiny house communities. Administrators hated me because of this one trick. No, I'm kidding. No, you don't date. But
Like
yeah, this one
that.
thing. Yeah, no, like literally, I got kicked out of the group 3 times. Tiny house people. The administrator at the time, I don't know if she still is. She's prominent in the community. Marcy. Hi, Marcy. Hi.
Hope she
She
listens to
hated me because I
this.
was a blogger. Yeah, because I, you know, like they thought I was a tourist, but I was seriously like, fuck yeah, you know, like this is the missing link. Before I got it, like now I want to get a sailboat. That's our new goal. But back then I was like, yeah, and I was absorbing all this stuff. And then I found like the information that I was receiving in these communities and looking at these building plans, and other influencers in the group reached out to me and they're like, wow, you know, like I like your content. You're really good. And you're really good at communicating complex ideas in a simple way. Do you want to interview me for your blog? Do you want to, you know, and then you can kind of take what I say and make it simpler and blah, blah, blah. So we had a lot of people. There was tinyhouseplans.com, Gabriella, the Morrison
Hmm.
family. They're amazing people. There was Alec Lisevsky, Lefesky, I'm going to bastardize it. Sorry, Alec. But yeah, like there was these other people in there and they saw the value of what I was doing, and they knew that like I was still kind of a tourist because I didn't have my own tiny house yet, but nobody did. And basically how I built authority back then and how we ended up getting insane traffic. Like I literally, and I have the Google Analytics to prove it. I launched my blog, and 3 days later, we were getting 10,000 visitors per day.
Damn, that's
That was
amazing.
back in like when I first launched Hobo, the first round before I knew what to do with it. We launched it, and 3 days later. So for sure, verbatim, I can give you a screenshot for if you're going to put an article along with this podcast. But yeah, so the way that I did it back then was, again, I was part of a group. I offered value, even though the administrators fucking hated me. And that's another issue. You got to deal with administrators that have their own agendas if you're in a free group, because usually it's just a vanity metric for their own sponsorships. And that's why
Yeah.
they have a group in the first place. But yeah, so I stood out in that group, and people came to my site. And that was how I was able to get out there the first time around back in 2013 or 14. And yeah, it just, I guess really communities, it goes
Yeah.
back to communities. I mean, you're going to be waiting about, I mean, now I know how to rank an article within a couple months, maybe in a couple weeks. But back then I didn't know shit. And it took me about 3 to 9 months to rank anything on Google. So in that time, I did memberships. Then when we relaunched Hobo, I still didn't quite know how to rank an article on Google. So what we did, and what we still do to this day, and it's still our second highest traffic source to this day, is Pinterest. So
Oh,
the
yeah,
first thing
you
is
have.
communities, and then the second thing is Pinterest. If you can do that, and there's really good courses out there. We've got a review over on our site, about Pinterest traffic avalanche, made by our friends over at Create and Go,
Right.
and they made an amazing course. And
Yeah.
my wife took that, and she was able to succeed quite well.
Yeah.
So Pinterest is a really good one.
Yeah, I saw your Pinterest. You have about 35K or 350K. Yeah, you have heaps of followers there. And
I don't even know. My wife handles that whole thing.
yeah,
I
that's
haven't even logged into it ever. So yeah.
so you basically write blogs and tie Pinterest pins into the blog. Is that the gist of it?
I actually put them on a div, and I hide
Okay.
the div, so they're actually not even visible in the article.
Oh, okay.
But I believe once you share a pin and you link it to that article, then when people hit share on Pinterest, it automatically pops up that pin that already exists anyway. I think that's how it works.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
it's Ocean's thing. If people go to work with us on our site, hobowithalaptop.com, you look in the menu somewhere, it'll say work with us. And then social media, you can find, you can hire Ocean. She still works. She doesn't have to. Our income is 99.9% passive, but she still likes doing Pinterest work for other brands as well.
Oh,
So if
that's
anybody
amazing.
needs her, yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
And so how does the rank, like you said you took about 6 months to figure it out. How does it, how do you go with ranking now with SEO and ranking?
I couldn't fit into this thing, but I can say very quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Keyword placement is a thing. I mean, there's plenty of resources out there. But I think really it's the real mean way to do it. And like, I haven't really published anything. Like I told you earlier before we got on the
Mm-hmm.
call, I published 2 posts today. And then earlier this year, I published a post at the end of January about coronavirus, warning everyone to
Mm-hmm.
stay in place because an interruption to the supply chain was coming, and everybody thought I was crazy. And I updated that article all the way through March. It's just sitting there. It's called Travel in the Era of Coronavirus. You won't find it on Google because I had to make it de-indexed to make sure that Google didn't censor it. I didn't want to take the hit. But if you go to our
Yeah.
website and you type in coronavirus, you'll find the article. And
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, but then beyond that, I mean, I had a mini stroke last year, and I haven't really created any new content other than like the 2 I did today, the one about coronavirus, and then maybe one other one that was related to a sponsorship that we had. I haven't really done much lately. But your original question was about how to rank things. So
Yeah.
I think when you want to rank stuff and you're starting out, oh yeah, the reason why I brought up why I haven't done much is that in the time that we haven't been publishing, we've seen pretty much all of our main money-making posts drop in rank. And it's because I think whether people know it or not, they're doing the strategy that I'm about to tell you. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have an article that ranks number one for a topic, any topic, whatever the keyword is, if you have an article that you rank number one on, look at the second one below you. So let's
Yeah.
say you make I'm just looking at a flower pot right now. So let's say that you write an article about flower pots, home decor, and then you type that into Google and you notice that you're ranking number one for that. Well,
Yeah.
look at the guy on number two. That's a pretty specific topic. So chances are his site is very similar to your site. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're able to outrank him on that one particular topic, then chances are you'll probably outrank him across the board. So then you can look at everything else that he's ranking number one for, and then you can pull the legs off a spider. You can be like, oh, okay, he's also, so I'm ranking number one for this topic and he's ranking number two. So he's
Yeah.
below me, but he's ranking number one for hanging vines in the house. He's ranking number one for portable toothbrushes. I'm just looking around my room. So what, like what you do is you write content, you take his keywords and obviously add your own vocabulary to it. The word keyword is a sin in the SEO world today. It's not about keywords anymore. It's about vocabulary and your range of
Yeah.
vocabulary. But I'm just saying, because one of the community members that we have, he gave me shit for using the word keyword. He's like, that's so 1984, dude, you're way behind. So, okay, so not the keywords, but your range of vocabulary. And you look at what he's ranking number one on for other things. And because you have the potential to outrank him, he's now the finger pointing what you have to write next. So you look at the other topics he's ranking number one for. Like, don't outdo him on all of his posts, but like, I'm sure he's going to have a couple others he ranks number one on. So just write an article about those.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then chances are nature will take its course. And because you're bigger than him on the one thing, you're probably gonna be bigger than him on the other thing. At least you'll rank second or third. But then, yeah, you pick off his vocabulary, and you just kind of do that. And then you search for yourself on another keyword, and then you'll find another website. And then you look at the things that they rank number one for, and then you write an article about those things, and then you'll probably outrank them on those, and then you just keep being number one. So
Right.
you have to let Google tell you what you're going to blog about. And if you're not going to do that, and if you're really stuck on a topic that you want to write about, then at least frame it in a way that will help you make Google put you on number one. You can always stretch it. You can always frame a topic in a way that will reflect the buyer's journey. So, like I always, like, it's always about the utility of something. Like, people don't search for the cure because they don't know what the cure is yet.
Yep.
So they're, but they are going to search for the symptoms. So if you can talk about the utility of something which addresses certain symptoms or certain problems, then you can see how that plays out, and then eventually you'll outrank somebody. It just takes one, and then once you outrank them, then you can look at their other content, that person's other content, and
Yeah.
then
And then it
find other
snowballs.
topics. Yeah, and then get more inspiration. But let Google, like, if you want to make money, TLDR, if you want to make money, let Google dictate your content
Content.
schedule.
Right. Okay.
It's like a
That's
table
yeah.
of contents. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's an amazing tip. Actually, never thought about that. On the same topic. So, what do you think about like other content enabling platforms such as Medium or Publish or X, which they actually pay you for content? So, what are the what benefits and drawbacks do you see from creating your own blog versus writing on a content enabling platform?
I'll get into owning the race course again at the end, but I mean,
Yes, that's the one.
whatever they're going to pay you,
Yeah.
fuck them. You're going to make more if you go independent. And I hate these, like, I hate like the number one thing that we get on our site, we get a lot of bloggers, and you're still there, right? Because it sounds like it might have cut out. You're still
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of bloggers will come to us and they have whatever their subdomain is, .wordpress.org
Mm-hmm.
or .com or whichever one it is, and or Blogger, Blogspot, whatever these other Medium. No, like Medium just put up a paywall. You can only read, like, as a non-logged in user, I can only read five articles on Medium, and then I'm not able to read anymore unless I get an account. Well, that means the platform that you trusted, that had a business model that went one way when you started, they pivoted, they changed their business model, and now you're fucked. So don't trust these other things. And if they're going to pay you to publish, if you do that, take your most successful article that's on your own blog. So you already have your own blog with your own .com, your own domain. Take your most successful article, rewrite it with different keywords so it doesn't compete with the original, and then put that on Medium or put that on one of these free platforms. So that way it draws people to your site. You don't want people to come to their site and give them all that equity on search engines when you could be using it instead to build something to yourself.
Right.
And
Okay.
And that includes, Steam it or whatever. I mean, I know you can make crypto with Steam it and whatever newfangled thing the kids are all hot to trot about today, because I'm almost 40. Oh, you kids, but stop pulling your sister's hair. No, but just if you transcribe this, the keyword profile is going to be really whack. Like if you're going to write an article for someone else's platform, just make sure that the whole point is that it puts into yours. Like another, secondary nested point to go with this would be, if you're going to have social media icons on your website, they should only be share buttons. You should not have a link to your Instagram profile on your top right of your homepage, because then you're just getting people, you're encouraging them to leave your site. Why would you do that, man? We have at the end of every article, we have our author bio, and that's where we put our social media link. And then there's a couple pages where we do allow the sidebar, and it does have them, but for the most part, our whole site, all you see are share buttons to get people in from social media sites, not the other way around. And that's a trick they pulled on you, man. They told you it was best practices. Yeah, everybody's doing it. Yeah. No, zag. They're going to zig, you zag, you pull people in, you let everybody else tell you that Medium's the whatever. Like, I know that there's a lot of really good publications. Like, we've been mentioned on Hacker Noon, and I know that they use Medium, but like, that works for them because they have their business model. But if you're just a small time blogger like we are, no, you don't want to build it out on those platforms. Own the race course, as James Remco likes to say.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing quote on the race course. Yeah. So along with blogging, I've seen a lot of courses being created, especially on Twitter. Money Twitter is trending now with Gumroad. And how does someone with limited, especially on Twitter, I've seen a lot of new people start doing that. They start creating courses. So how does someone with limited knowledge on certain topics gain credibility for such a course, and what level of expertise do they need to start off if they're creating a course?
Okay, so if they're creating a course and promoting it on Twitter, is that what you're asking?
Twitter or any other media, but just in general, I've seen course sales pick up a lot on Twitter lately. So that's one of the trends I've seen as well.
Okay, so I'll get into a side strategy that we do as well in a moment. So if I don't talk about the side strategy, the keyword is banana. Just say banana, and then I'll remember. But okay, so if you're going to promote on Twitter, obviously you're going to want to observe, and this goes for Pinterest and whatever. But you want, and Pinterest specifically, if you have a popular pin, it doesn't matter anymore. Pinterest recently changed their algorithm to favor new pins. So if you have an article that you're promoting or a course that you're promoting on Pinterest, you want to make sure that you're making a brand new fresh pin for that course every week or two tops.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because their algorithm, it's like, because there's no one size fits all. All algorithms are evil and different.
Yeah.
So that's their, you know, I threw in my opinion, but like that's their, like all of the world's social problems right now wouldn't exist if it wasn't for algorithms and bubbles. But anyway,
Pretty
I'll leave it
much.
at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Pinterest algorithm is one thing. The Twitter thing, I mean, is just a matter of hashtags, you know, and observing, you know, what hashtags people are using and then alternating them and rotating through them. You know, like if we were to have started out today, I mean, only for like bullshit sock puppet accounts would I use Twitter today. Like I have deleted our Twitter account multiple times, and every time on the last day when you have 30 days to open your account again, you know, like I'll delete it and I'll be like, the last hour, I'll be like, I can't let it go. And then I'll reopen it. But like I really fucking hate Twitter. And I hate it for the way I feel. I feel dirty when I look at my feed. It's disgusting. Like even the most beautiful people I see, when they get angry and they have a meltdown on Twitter, it's the most disheartening thing to see. So like I try to avoid it. I have my own meltdowns on Twitter as well. That's the only platform where I'll use our brand and act like an asshat. But you know, but Twitter, yeah, it's just about, again, fresh content. So it's your latest tweets. You want to put out at least one tweet a day with proper hashtags, or maybe two or three with different hashtags to do your course. Now that banana thing that I mentioned earlier,
Banana,
that's nothing to do.
yes.
Yeah. So the strategy that I learned recently um, is to find an affiliate program that gives you a unique promo code. So, you know, for example, we've got a number of affiliate programs that we promote. Some of them give us our own promo code. So
Yeah.
if anybody uses that promo code, even if they don't click our link, if they just use our promo code, we make a commission. So, and they get a discount. So on Twitter, what I do is I you know, not just keyword or not just optimize for hashtags, but I'll also optimize for keywords in my tweets and alternate. And I'll just put promo codes there. I have a few sock puppet accounts too, with other brands that promote the same promo codes that we're using over on Hobo with a Laptop and other sites that we have. And you just literally have a automated thing like Publer.io or, you know, Buffer or Hootsuite or, you know, any one of these flash in the can social platforms where you can manage it. And then you just go through a feed of literally just all your promo codes.
Right.
And then when people are doing research before they make a purchase, they're probably going to type in brand name, promo code, hit enter, and then they're going to find your tweet that says brand name, promo code, and then your promo code. You know, you're going to put it in the tweet and they're going to find it and use it. And then eventually it'll get aggregated on these promo code sites. And then that's when you make the real money. So if I was to use Twitter starting today without having an established brand, I would just have a sock puppet account that just cycles through all my affiliate offers. I wouldn't even give them the time of day. It's a garbage platform. So like, it's garbage. It's garbage. And like when we deleted, like Facebook too, when we deleted our Facebook page, going on almost 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, our drop in traffic was so marginal. It was maybe 20 to 30 people a month that we lost.
Yeah.
Bullshit. We still like, we actually get more traffic through Facebook today not having a Facebook page because people are sharing our content, because we advertise sharing buttons and not telling people to go to your profile. Like every single every single modality that you have where people can access your content. So if you have a website, that should be your number one, or a YouTube channel. But again, YouTube, that's another platform.
Yeah.
You don't own it, right? So you want to have your website be number one, and then you want to have your platform be second. So you make your website number one, and then you can embed your YouTube videos into articles that have keywords around them so people can find it that way. And then, you know, so your website's number one, and then two, you've got your Facebook page, you've got your Twitter page, you've got your YouTube page, you've got, maybe you're using Publer, you know, if you're one of these, you know, cutting edge people that is more into free speech, which is cool, or Minds, or what's it, BitChute, or, you know, all these other platforms that I think marketers really should be taking advantage of. BitChute, Minds, and Publer. It's not all alt-right crazies. It's just people. Although it's a vacuum and it's been sucking up a lot of the crazies that Twitter kicked out. But take it over as a marketer. take it over. It's freshly fallen snow because every single marketplace that has a search bar, Publer is a huge opportunity for marketers right now, because right now it may be all crazy alt-right people. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't looked at it today. Like today I looked at it, but if someone types in Skyroam promo code on Publer, it's a new platform. Chances are there's nobody that's like promoting that. Don't you want to be the only one? You
I've
could have
never
a
heard of
3-month-old, or not Publer. What's the new one? The new Twitter. What's the new Twitter alternative? It's the big one. All of Trump's little fan base is on there now. Oh my gosh.
Twitter.
Twitter alternative. It starts with a P.
Is it Twitter? Oh, Parler.
Parler.
Parler?
Yeah. It's because I mentioned Publer earlier, and then I just kept saying it. Yeah, Parler. So like, I mean, it's a Twitter alternative. It's a great place. It's actually better than Twitter from a technology stack perspective. It's beautiful. And it's got legs. I think there were some major Twitterers that were banned, and then they created profiles there and brought everybody with them, like Stefan Molyneux, Sargon of Akkad is there, like all these other like I'll call them libertarian types, but I'm sure the mainstream media would call them right-wing crazy people. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Imagine like that whole free speech people.
Free speech, yeah.
Speak
your
with
mind.
the uncomfortable opinions. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And imagine, imagine you with what happened with the blue ticks recently. Imagine if half the blue ticks migrate to Parler. That'll be catastrophic.
Yeah, I know.
Twitter.
I know a lot of them have,
Yeah.
And like I don't know if Alex Jones is there, aliens, but like I don't know if he's on there, but like, and then the other thing too is just by happenstance, one of the Twitter employees, being a politically motivated douchebag, tried to shut down the president's Twitter account. So then Twitter put and that was last year, I think, and then Twitter put in a safety to prevent that from happening to the president again. But then on that recent hack over the last week, it was that little happenstance scenario that created a safety so Trump's account didn't get hacked. But everybody, like there was over 40 blue checks, and of the 40, 6 of them or 9 of them had their entire message history downloaded.
Wow.
Like, can you imagine being one of those people? Like, I've sent some real embarrassing drunk bullshit to people on Twitter, like in my DMs. So, like, what are you doing? Gin. But no, it's like it's dangerous, like that could have started a war. Like if somebody would have broken into Trump's account and said, we're going to bomb Syria in 3 hours.
Oh man. Jesus,
can you imagine what would happen to the world as we know it?
Wow.
That's why these things are dangerous.
Stock market would crash for sure. And so many other things. Oh, I can't even imagine that.
Like the suicides.
Yeah.
Like I'm always looking at, like, when you're looking at the social change that's happening, these people pushing social change. Now, I'm not going to talk about the things that I'm talking about. I'm not going to get specific. But I will mention climate change. Like, these people pushing social change are pushing a little hard, and it's making young people kill themselves. And nobody seems to realize that. And maybe I'm using your platform as a way to say that. But the next time you tell someone, we only have 12 years to live, if you're telling a kid that's still in high school that,
ooh,
yeah, he's going to turn into either a fucking nihilist or he's going to be hanging, and if you ever Google teen suicide rate, I guarantee you it's social change that's pushing that. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, when you put it into perspective, it makes you think.
I had a few friends die that way after Occupy, and then after the Fukushima disaster, people thought we were eating radioactive fish, and
it's just information
can kill people. Yeah, it can kill people. No one thinks about that.
So. Yeah, I think it's just like drugs. It just gives you dopamine, and the more you can distance yourself away from the irrelevant information and just like consume specific stuff. I've seen, I think maybe it was your blog, where there was an add-on to Chrome where you can actually stop YouTube from finding related videos to you, and you can only get what you search for. And I think that's really cool. I might actually try that myself. because YouTube
Yeah.
knows how to like net you into this
I think it
rabbit
was my
holes that
Twitter. Yeah. Like I shared an article about, like people don't realize, like I saw this article about Apple,
yeah
and the article said that Apple won't allow these API integrations into their browser because of what they do. And then I always read, and I strongly recommend anybody that's interested in tech and the privacy technology angle too, because every other article is about that. The whole infosec thing. Slashdot, SLASH, and then the word
slash
dot,
yeah
.org. It's like a green and white website. I read on there that Apple won't be including these basically these spying API integrations, and some of these integrations that are in all Chromium based browsers. So that's Chrome, Chromium, not Firefox. It's in what are the other
Brave
ones? Vivaldi. Sorry, which one did you say?
Brave
Yeah,
is
Brave. Yeah,
Brave
it's in
yeah
Brave as well. That's the big one, right? You think that's a privacy browser. Well,
yeah
by default, factory, and there's like, unless you go into their crazy advanced settings, which you got to type a certain address in the address bar and hit enter, and then you can see these other checkboxes. Unless you get into that, but I still haven't found a way to turn off all these APIs where it can tell the temperature of your device. It can tell you which way your device is, like if it's on an angle or if it's lying flat. It can tell the sounds that are around it. It can tell, sorry, maybe not the sounds, the magnetic polar interference that's around it. So now if you think about that, you add up all these different attributes, and that is a fingerprint. So if you have like right now I have when I do calls, I downgrade my fan to like a little USB fan because it's quieter. Well, that USB fan is creating a polar magnetic interference. And then I have my external hard drive to the left of my computer. I have my lamp to the right. I have my, right now I'm vaping, which I know is a stupid habit, but I'm doing that, and it's plugged in. It's creating electromagnetic interference. I've got my phone on my table. Now, if I switch browsers, because I use all of the major browsers and I use them for different tasks to keep myself, like everything organized. But if I switch, so if I go to one website in multiple browsers, and they're all Chromium based, they're all going to pick up on those electromagnetic frequencies. And they're all going to have a perfect fingerprint. So it doesn't matter whether I switch browsers. It doesn't even matter whether, like, if it's unique enough. There's like 23 that Apple didn't approve or something like that. But Safari still is also a whole other despot privacy problem. But yeah, like if I have this fingerprint, and even if I use the Tor Onion network,
oh
the
yeah
fingerprint, it'll still be there. I mean, Tor uses Firefox as their base, so it's different. They don't have as many of these things. But there's EFF, the electronic something freedom frontier.org, EFF.org. If you just Google EFF fingerprint checker or detector or something like that, you can actually do a test and you can see what your fingerprint looks like. And then you can run it through different browsers and see how it compares. Yeah, the EFF.org. They're great. They're great. Yeah. But we really went off topic on that one. But
no, it's interesting. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new from this episode. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you know anyone who'd benefit from the content we covered today, make sure you share it with them and add some value to their life. Have a blessed day and take care.